Okay, thank you.
My name is Connor Talbot. I am with Tall Town Design. I have been doing SEO for about 7 years now. And along the way, I've also built an occasional website, typically not using WordPress, but I'll use Webflow, typically, if you've heard of that tool. But typically more for static, smaller websites, nothing big and fancy. It can be done in WordPress. So let me go ahead and share my screen here and we can go ahead and get started. One thing that I definitely wanted to touch on is just my definition of SEO. So let me go ahead and start the slideshow. So this is about not killing your SEO when you launch a new website, essentially. How to do a URL page gap analysis. And this is a super useful technique for doing multiple things in SEO. So I will show us how to do that today. There's my contact info if you want it, and I can share it in the slides as well. So I know this is a lot of text here, and that's not typically good to do for slides, but I wanted to make sure I got this right. This is typically what I'll put in my SEO audit reports, my definition of SEO, and I'm going to go ahead and read this off. And this is a really good starting point to help some of you understand basically what our goal here is. So at its core, SEO is about generating leads and revenue by helping your website perform better in Google search. Google's goal is simple: to make money. The search engine does this by providing the best possible search results for every single search done. This in turn keeps its users consistently coming back to search for more high quality information. Ultimately, they are hoping for visitors to click on their Google ads, a major profit center for Google. By helping your website provide a positive user experience with high quality content, then Google will want to start to send more people to your website over competitor websites. And then there is also the technical part of SEO, and that even if your website has the best content on the internet, if Google can't easily find or crawl the pages on your website, then that content won't be on Google search. So then it doesn't matter. So there's technical SEO and there's on-page SEO. This is more of technical SEO. And let me go ahead and get into what we're doing here today. So we are doing a URL page gap analysis. So what is this? And this will make more sense as we go along. So this is where you take multiple sources of URL slug data to help find where your pages should or shouldn't be. This will make more sense in a second. So this helps you make sure you don't change your URL slugs that would send users to 404 pages when someone clicks on one of your pages in Google search. This is the main thing we're going to focus on today, but it also helps unveil other things as well, such as to find pages that you forgot to build or miss on the original website, and unnecessary pages that you don't want Google to crawl and index. Sometimes I'll find hello world, those first pages that the blogs will come with. There'll be a hello world post, and that will be indexed by Google search. And we don't want that. We don't want someone to come across that page. And also to find similar content that causes keyword cannibalization. And let me go ahead and define what keyword cannibalization is. So this isn't going to be a big focus on this presentation, but I'll go ahead and touch on it. So if you have two service pages that are very similar, let's say, boy, I should have come right with an example here. Okay, I'll just use SEO expertise. So let's say I want to rank my website for SEO services. However, I have another blog post that talks about what is done with SEO services. So I have two separate pages here. I have my SEO services pages that is extremely important, that I want to make money. I want that to show up first in Google search. And then I have my other page over here that sort of explains what SEO does and some of my services. Now, the issue with that is when we have the same keywords on both of those pages, we can confuse Google on what page should be indexed above the other. And we want to make sure our main service page is indexed, right? We don't want this sort of other blog post to be indexed. Sure, it's good content, and it might have some long tail keywords, but if someone searches for SEO services, we want to make sure that main page comes up and not that other page that also mentions SEO services. And that we can talk about that more after the presentation if anyone has questions, but it's a pretty common thing that I run into on the internet. So let's go ahead and get here. And now this is the main thing that we're trying to help. what we're trying to solve here. So this is the example website we're using today. This is just a slug, a listing in Google search.
Hey, Connor. Hey, just real quick, for people, I know there's a couple like beginners here. So the URL and what he's calling a URL and a slug is that the line right above it says HTTP, yeah, right there. And anyway, so I just want to clear that up. It's called the URL, and the slug is where the website address there.
Thank you, and please feel free to stop me if you think I skimmed over something that I should mention.
You're doing awesome.
So, are you willing to share your slides or this presentation with the rest of the group today?
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to do that, why don't you just send me a quick email? I'm hitting the road right after this, but I can get to it probably here on Monday.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay,
anyway.
So so to get back to what Jim mentioned, and if someone else gets confused, please raise your hand or try to get my attention, and I can stop and get to your question. So this is the whole URL right here. So if someone clicks on this page, they are taken here on Google. And this part, just the end part, is the slug, of the URL. Gotcha. So what we don't want to do is when we launch a new website, so let's say this is the current website slug or the old website, so the current website, and let's say that it's donate, and we see that the slug is donate. However, if we launch a new website and that new website slug is donate-now, when someone clicks on this link, we are sending users to 404 broken pages. That is not a good user experience. So essentially what we're looking at here is we want to make sure that all these slugs, the whole URL are exactly the same from the old website to the new website. If we change all the slugs on our new website, when someone clicks this link, we are sending users to 404 pages, broken pages. And that is not a good user experience. Google will not be happy with us. You're going to get a bunch of bounces. You want people to get to your website and stick on your website, not to just push the back button as soon as they hit that 404 page. So our goal here is we want to make sure that all these slugs, so here's good, we want to make sure all these slugs match up from the old website to the new website. And this is what we're going to go through that process today. And I will explain how we can, if this has to happen here, if you have to do this, there's a way to fix that. And we can touch on that in a little bit. That'd just be with the 301 redirect, but we'll get to more of that here soon. Okay, so now here's some important formulas that I'm going to cover as we start this process. And we will touch on that. I might as well just leave this open here while I minimize. All right, so let's start here. So the first thing you want to do, this tool is free if you have less than 500 URLs on your website. This is a super valuable SEO tool. It is called Screaming Frog. It's very common. It's a very popular SEO tool. And if you do have to have more than 500 URLs, it's very reasonable price. I want to say it's like $150 a year. And it gives you super good data on your website. What this tool does is it crawls your website just like Google does, and it looks for links. It clicks links and it starts following as many pages as it can find on your website. And then it gives us, then it comes back and it says, all right, here's all the pages. It'll give you images as well. Oh, I guess all the images are external in this case. And so now here's all the HTML pages. And we can see we have all these pages through here. And now it also gives us good information here as we're building the website. Maybe we just accidentally didn't link internally when we link in from page to page in your website. Maybe you have a internal 404 link that's broken. So regardless, it's really good to run this tool on your page, on your website before you launch it, because this can help you find issues. This can help you find pages that you didn't link to, etc. It also gives us tons of great other information. such as the meta title. Your meta title is what that main title that's seen in Google search. So we want to make sure that we have those meta titles before we launch that new website. We don't want to have your, just home in your meta title. We want to make sure that the meta title describes what your business does. So this is our team is currently launching this website here in the next few days. So it's perfect opportunity for us to go ahead and just do this on the fly. So what you want to do here is you go ahead and you crawl your website. You just throw it into Screaming Frog. You crawl your website. Now, what we want to do here is we want to export all the HTML pages. So here's all the HTML pages. We can look at JavaScript pages, etc. And now we export that. And I've already done that. So you export it. I use Google Sheets, super useful. And then I put that data in here. So current website before launch is what I name this. And this is the current website before it's launched. Now what we want to do is we do the same thing. And I already crawled it, so I'm just going to do a saved version of it. We want to do the same thing, but for the new website or the draft website, the website that we're about to launch. So we do it again. You can see this is an EditorX website right here. And this is the, so then we have this set of data. Now we export it again. We want to make sure that we only have the HTML. We export it again, and we put it back into Google Docs. Now, here's where we start combining that data. And what we're doing here is, again, we're matching up those old slugs to the new slugs. We want to make sure that those old slugs on the website are going to stay exactly the same, so we don't break those pages when someone clicks on that link from Google search or from other websites. What if you have a bunch of other websites out on the internet that link to your website and they link to donate, but you change that page to donate now? So when someone clicks that donate, you're just sending people to that 404 page. Again, not good. So let's get those URL slugs matched up. So here's the analysis here, and I haven't put anything in the stock. I just sort of organized it. So we have the current website and we have the new website, or the current website, the old website, I guess. Hopefully I'm not confusing people with that. So current website before launch, we want to grab all this data. And here's the Screaming Frog data that I exported. So we throw it in. Great. And then we go to the new website tab here. I'm going back to our Google Sheet. So here's the new website data. We copy this. We throw it in here. All right. So now there's a few things we need to do here. We want to combine all this data together. But before we do that, we want to just do some sort of housekeeping here. We want to make things easy to sort. So first of all, we want to create a new column on the left here. And we want to make this a friendly sort of or let's just do this, so friendly slug. So we just want that slug part of the URL. We don't want the full URL. We just want that /n part. So in order to do this, what we have to do is we need to remove, let me just scoot this over. We need to remove all that content from the left side of this URL here, okay? We just want the slug. And so that's where we come back to the cheat sheet here. So here's our little formula. We say write A2 lens, blah, 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 and then the amount of characters we're cutting off. Just add this to your cheat sheet, take a screenshot of it, etc. And I can probably even share this whole workbook with you if anyone wants to, just if you want to view it. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean it up a little bit. I'll do on this, I'll just do it right here, that's fine. Okay, so equals right, and we want to do A2. We have that cell selected, comma, or I think comma. I'm going to go back to the cheat sheet myself here, comma, lens, and now we want to subtract that left-hand side. So we want the same cell, A2, And now we want to subtract off all the amount of characters we have from the leftover. So I just start with 10 here. Let's just do 10 so we get an idea of what's going on. So see what happened? We just cut off that much of the URL, but we need to cut off more. So now let's just experiment here. Let's make it 18. We're getting closer. We got there. So how many more? I did what, 18? So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So this should probably be 26 and we should be good, I think. All right, so now there's our slug. Slug of the home page. If I drag this down, see, there's the slug of that page. And now we just pull this down. Uh-oh, some weird data in there. I'll have to, that's strange. I'll just go ahead and delete that, I guess. Okay, delete. Okay, so now we got our friendly slug. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna add a filter to this. Actually, no, I won't do it here, that's okay. And now let's do the same thing over on the other set of data. So now we come over here. So here's the website that is in draft. Pull this open so people can see it. Now this is odd slug. All right, so this URL is longer. See, we have the still x.io there, so we need to add more characters here. So let's make it 34. So we got to get even further. So this is the home page. So keep in mind, this is the home page. So we have to, I think we're going to have to do one other thing to this too, which is a step I wasn't planning, but that's okay. So let's make it 38, whoops, 38. Let's just get all the way down. Okay, we're going to have to do one more thing to this. Darn, we don't want that in there.
It's okay.
Okay, so one situation we have here is that this has a slash. We need to get that slash there. We want that initial slash, and we can't cut everything off or we're missing a slash. This typically doesn't happen, but with this case, because it's editor Rex, depends on what website builder you used, right? So let's go ahead and I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this. I might just, okay, I'm gonna go like this. Just add something way on the far right here. Oh, you can see Screaming Frog gives us a lot of data. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a slash here. This might not make sense for a second. Is that B-I, B-H-B-L? Is that L or I? I don't even know. Okay, I have no better idea.
That's okay. You know, like another thing for those of us with old blogs, you know, there's a lot. You can get a lot of these pages and that sort of thing, which you know they don't go anywhere, or the titles are missing and all that stuff. So anyway, this is helpful, you know, for updating old content and that sort of thing with the URLs.
Okay, so here we have the slug, but we still need that backslash, or it's going to make things a little tricky on us. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another column, and this is going to be, normally you don't come across this. This is just one of those weird cases here in this website builder. And now we say like friendly slug or whatever, slub. And now equals concat. So we're putting to get two different values. Let's do even better. I have an idea. Hold on. I'm doing this in a really funny way, but that's all right. I'm just doing it the fastest way I can think of doing it here. So I'm just adding a bunch of slashes here so we can add that. And now I'm going here and I'm saying we want to add A2 with our slug over here. So that's D2. Why did slug come in? D3. A3, D3. Okay, so now we have our friendly slug. Okay, so now I'm gonna drag the ones I did earlier. I'm gonna drag them down. And now we want to get the backslash here. We want to add that backslash. So now what I'm doing is I'm pulling it down, and this should do it. Except now I'm getting 2 backslashes, of course. That's funny. Okay. I'm cheating again. And now let's pull this down. Okay, so now we have our friendly slug. This is the one that you'll typically get a little bit faster than that, but here we have it. Okay, so now let's just move this all the way over here, just because so we can get out of the way. And now let's move this all the way over here so we can just get out of the way. It's not interfering with the rest of our data. Let's just go ahead and delete this row because I didn't need it to begin with. And now we have our good data here, somewhat. We still need, darn it. Okay, so let's go to content analysis. So now we're going to take all this data again. So I'm going to copy all of it. And now we're going to combine the data. So we go to analysis. I pasted it. And now we go to the left here. And we say new or old website. This is the old website. This will help us stay organized. And now let's go to the new website. Now we're going to grab all of this again. I don't want the top row. I'm going to copy. Now we're going to put this over here. Now here's our, let me move this around really quick. I'm going to go like this. So one left. This is new website. Okay, now let me grab all the data. Don't want that row. And now we should be lined up here. Cool. All right, so now here's all our slugs. All right, from new website and old site. And now I want to highlight this whole top row here. And this is something that you do in Google Sheets, and we're creating a filter. This helps us sort the data however we want to sort it. So I'm going to push that button. And now right here, the friendly slug, we can just do A to Z. So now this is our good data. So now this is what we're looking at here. So the blog, we have this page on the old website. We have this page on the new website. We're good to go. We are not breaking that URL in Google. We have, this one looks the same. So boom, boom. So we're good there. Now the trick to this, a way of sorting all this is we come over here, insert new column, and we call this count. And here we'll go back to the cheat sheet. So this counts the number of cells that contain the same slug data. So let me go back. We're going to do it equals count if we want to say C2, C to C. So the whole column C starting at C2. Oh, whoops. So I did the wrong cell here. See, it's counting 45 old website pages is what it's counting right now. But I want to get this, I want D. So D to D starting at D2. Great. So now we put this down again. So now wherever we see a 2, let me move this right here so we can see it a little bit better. So we have 2 of these. We have 2 home pages. Great. We have 2 blog pages. Awesome. We have 2 of these. We're good. Now look at this one. Like, what's going on here? Why isn't this page on the new website? So this page is on the old website. Why isn't this page on the new website? Should it be on the new website? Now a trick here, here's another little trick. We select this whole row. We go to format, conditional formatting, we say if this cell is exactly 2, return green. So now, wherever we see green, we see good. We know that there's 2. There's 2 of each one. There's one on the old website, there's one on the new website. Now we can start looking for problems. Why is there only one of these? This is a feed page. This is kind of something, I don't know if you're very familiar with this, not very necessary in today. So we're not worried about it. So then I would just highlight the screen. But if this was an important service page, if this was like important, service, then where is this page? We need to make sure that we get this page on the new website. Or what if the URLs are different? What if it's the donate versus donate now, right? Then we can go through this and we find it. So typically I'll just come over here and I'll make a just like action or what to do action. It definitely doesn't need to be that wide. Let's make this smaller here. We definitely can make this smaller. All right, so let's start looking for problems here. I haven't done it on this one yet. So here's a problem. The new website doesn't have a calendar. So do we want a calendar on the new website? Is that page important for SEO? You can go look at your metrics. If no one goes to that page, do you need it? So you can look at your metrics, etc. Or what if the URL changed? So we're good with the donate again, but if this was something like donate now, then we're breaking that page, and that's not good. And then what about these right here? So this is on the new website, but it's not on the old website. So is this an issue? Do I need to investigate this? Do I need to go back and look around, see what's going on? We can scroll down. So who we are. This page isn't on the new website. Should probably look into that. Now, another really cool part about this is we can also do this with the titles. We can go look, here's our meta title. This is what Google's showing in Google search. Here, I'll just move it over so we can see it more easy. Now, what if this title is wrong? What if these titles don't mess up or match up? So you can also do the same process to make sure that you have all your titles updated on the new website, etc. So this helps you quickly find things that you need to update on the new website, etc. I see there's a couple things in chat. Let me just make sure. Oh, well, we're recording this, so hopefully you can just refer back to this and you can do it again. There's definitely a bit of a learning curve to this. And there's also a lot of other cool things we can do with this, but this is sort of the ultimate what we're doing here in terms of looking for pages that might not exist, pages that we might be breaking on Google, etc. And there's all kinds of things that I've come across when you do this process. So let's pause really quick. And are there any questions right now?
I have a question, and maybe you'll
Sure.
get to it. So I'm totally following what you're doing in Excel because I understand Excel. Can you just tie up in a neat little bow for me? Like, for example, if I don't want a calendar on the new website, what would the process be then? Because you've got this old thing hanging out that's going to send a 404. What do you do?
Good question. And I should have definitely mentioned that.
That is a good
question.
So
let's say there is another page. Okay, let's just take the calendar page, for example. So we look at our metrics and we're like, all right, we don't want the calendar page there. But we also don't want to send people to 404 page either, right? So what we can do is we can do a 301 redirect from this page, the calendar page that's broken, to the most relevant page we can find.
Oh,
in this case, if we had an events page, that would be a really good page to drive that traffic to, right? It's really relevant. So yeah, or if there's something like this, so that was a really good question. So let's say instead, let's say this is something instead like who we help or something, okay? And let's say that for some reason, we want all the new pages to have this format. So we know we're gonna break that page on Google. We know we're gonna break the page. Again, we can say 301 redirect who we help to who we help. So now when someone clicks on that page in Google search, their 301 redirect to the working page. And there's plugins in WordPress that let you do those 301 redirects.
Gotcha.
So it's and this probably wasn't the best example. You just never know what you're going to run into when you do these. But I highly recommend that you do this, because I've just seen so many web developers miss this step and miss really important pages that are driving a lot of traffic to the website, and all of a sudden they're gone,
Right.
or they're sending people to broken pages.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any more questions along those lines?
Hey, let me just say real quick, this is, it's kind of a little bit more of an advanced topic for some of us. Okay. Some of us are able to follow along. So, sometimes we do easier stuff. This one's if you don't have a blog, or you don't have a website already, a lot of this stuff isn't really going to matter to you. But for those of us with older blogs and that sort of thing, this is wonderful. Your spreadsheet skills are like marvelous. So, but anyway, so I just wanted to say that it's not everybody is going to be able to follow this, but this is it's a wonderful way of finding pages that are going to haunt you later.
Yeah,
I have a question,
please.
if you don't mind. Yeah, earlier you said will Google keep studying your website, even if you said earlier, before you launch your website, you might do this, and instead of keeping your website someplace not published, what do you do with your website before you publish it?
Restate that question. Sorry, I was
no, that's great. So you make a website, and you want Google's bots to look over your website. And you said earlier that if you didn't want Google to look at your website before you did this sort of this clinic here, what would you do with your website to keep it from being published? To keep Google's, will Google come back and look at it sometime in the future, or does it matter when you launch your website whether you've done this or not?
So of course, eventually that the main part of this URL, so that the ugly part, the connorjohn88.edX, this is going to go away as soon as we launch the new website, right? Mm-hmm. So that will turn into that URL there. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we keep the website on the same domain, because that has earned up SEO equity over time.
Yep.
So once Google's only going to see a new website, and everything else is going to be the same, basically.
I think maybe what he's asking is where are you building this new website?
Right.
Before it's published.
So that depends on how you're doing it. In this case, we're using edX, and that looks like this. But if it's a WordPress, maybe you have a development area, a development site, and you would crawl that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to
go.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I know, for my host, it depends on the host, who you're hosting with. But they do have a development mode that you can build a site without it being online, and then publish it all at once. So you're not building it while it's live.
Does it work with GoDaddy?
Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe somebody does, though. Somebody might have a GoDaddy account here.
That should definitely be possible. So that's something that's really good to do, because you're not just making it live all of a sudden, and you can definitely look for mistakes. Really large websites, what they'll do is they'll have 3 different environments. So they'll have their main launched website in this environment. They have a developer website here, and then they'll have a third website that's like an experimental website, and they're all on different URLs.
Okay.
So this way, when you're playing around, you don't mess up other versions of your website. So if you're experimenting over here, and then you want to make sure you don't accidentally publish something live from that. And so that's pretty advanced, and I don't even do that just because that's a bigger web developer thing. But for really large websites, that's really crucial. So you don't accidentally down your website. You're experimenting, and then you publish it to the main URL after you tested everything. So.
Okay, thank you for that information. That's good.
Can I pipe in and add just a little tidbit
Please.
for Charles?
Yes.
Charles, I haven't done a ton of website work, but I have built websites offline. You can look up, I think it's called, and Michael Noter, maybe you can chime in if I'm wrong on this. Is it desktop server, I think is the name of it, is an example of one where you can build it offline, and then when you're ready to launch it, then you upload it. That's one other solution.
A lot of people use local by Flywheel.
Oh, right. Thank you.
But are you thinking about one for a local install on your own?
I was just trying to chime in to help Charles understand. He asked a really relevant question as far as like he didn't really understand where you would be building this other site while the old one was still up. And so I was just mentioning that some people can do it locally or choose to do it locally.
Most people use local by Flywheel, which is free. Or a lot
Okay.
Flywheel's pretty good.
Would you put that in the chat for me, please, so I can follow those?
Flywheel's pretty good. Oh, looks like we got another question. Tessa?
I was just going to add that if you're using WordPress, there are some plugins that allow you to build a website, some on, say, a subdomain or some other place, and then upload it when you're ready. I mean, one of them is Backup Buddy, which is a little bit expensive, but I think there's another one called WP Manage or something similar that allows you to build your website. You can also specify that Google does not crawl it. So you can keep it out of sight of Google until you're ready to it. And then the plugin will actually take care of switching the URLs over for you and moving it to your regular site. So that's another way of doing it.
And Tessa made a good point there. We don't want Google to crawl and look at our website that's in development, the one we're building. Then we're going to have duplicate content problems, etc. We don't want Google to index the wrong page over what we want indexed. So
Okay, but you're saying that Google will not come back and look at your website if you're updating your website, will that make it easier for the bots to look at you, to evaluate your website? I mean, what do Google's bots, do they have weekends off? What do they do?
Yeah, so it depends a lot on the website. So if you're a website that is consistently, and I'll just sort of show you what that kind of looks like. If you're a website that is really popular and big and a lot of people visit, then Google's going to crawl it a lot, multiple times a day. If you're a smaller little website, maybe just like a couple times a day, you know. But so yeah, that's a good question there.
But it's also a case that if you're building a website, you don't want Google to start gathering information about your pages because they might change. You know, you might have a structure at one point and decide to change it. And then if Google has already crawled it and put it in the search engine, it'll be a 404 for somebody. So you really want to hide your development website from Google until you're ready to release it.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get going again, Connor.
Sure. All right. So there's other things we can do here. Now we're going another step down the rabbit hole. And Jim, may I have permission to share the URL page gap analysis I did of your website?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, go ahead.
Cool. All right. So let me pull that up. before I do that, I'm going to share a few things with you. So we're going to take the step one. So let's say you have a big launched website, and now you just want to do an SEO analysis. Okay, so we're not launching a new website. Now we just want to look at our website and look for problems for SEO. So that's what we're gonna take this process one step further. So there's this thing called Google Search Console. It's free, super important tool to have. This is how we tell Google, etc., what pages we want indexed. It's kind of like Google Analytics, but this is how traffic gets to your website from Google search. So this is really important data here. It will show you issues. If Google can't crawl one of your pages for some reason, we can come over into coverage here, and it will show us like, oh, why are there errors? Why can't Google index this page on our website? And so then you can come in here and be like, okay, well, what does this mean? And you start diving in, etc. So this is a good tool to see what pages are on Google, etc. So now I'm gonna pause right there. This is a great tool. We could go way deep in this tool, and if someone might have some questions after, we talk some more, but now I'm gonna shift to what we're doing here. So what we wanna do is we wanna take these valid pages here, and we wanna take that, sort of what we do with Screaming Frog, how we exported that data. We now want to export this data and this data. These are the pages that are on Google search. We then go to our Screaming Frog data and we grab that. And now we take that one step further, is we go to the seattlesearchnetwork.org and we go to the sitemap.xml file. This file tells Google what pages we want indexed by Google search. So, and there's obviously some problems here, I can already tell. We're an SEO industry trade group, and here are we already have some SEO problems on the website. But anyway, so now we want to take and export these URLs. So I just usually copy and paste. I just grab them. So these are the pages we want indexed. We have all the pages that are indexed. And now we have Screaming Frog, we have all the pages that the bot could find. And then what we can do is we can do the same thing here. We put all those URLs on here, and now I'm going to go to Jim's URL page gap analysis that I did for him. So let's see, DIY title guy. Let's see. Uh-oh, why do I have two of these? Oh, that's not it. Okay, so I basically did that here. Now, let me show you what we get. So this is essentially the end result. So I did this similar thing, and let's just organize. I know Jim probably played around in this as well, so let me organize it a bit. Okay, let's just do from A to Z. Is this the right page? I guess so. Okay, so now here is a good example. So Screaming Frog, the tool, found this URL. However, similar to what was before, is that page doesn't show up in Google Search Console. Let me show you what a legitimate result looks like. Okay, so here's the home page. Screaming Frog found it, awesome, right? Screaming Frog crawled it, that's where we started. Google Search Console, it's in Google Search Console. Google is indexing that page, great. Now that page is in the sitemap, awesome. So we're good, we're in the green. That URL is in Screaming Frog, it's in Google search, it's in the sitemap. But what happens when you have a page like this that's in Screaming Frog, but it's not being indexed by Google? Now we just found pages, free content that Google is not indexing that we need to get indexed. And this can find all kinds of little problems. Again, this is more advanced. Here's a good example. Screaming Frog found the page, so it crawled it. It's in the sitemap, great. We want it indexed, yet it's not indexed. This page was not on Google search. Well, now it is because That's a high priority thing. We want to get all the content indexed. So to fix that, Jim just grabs that URL. You go to Google Search Console, you go to the actual property, and you paste it in. You want to do it in this one. You push enter. Here, I'll just show you. Where is it? Jim's website here. DIY, here it is. Oh, cool. So we paste it. We just push enter, retrieving data from Google Index. It'll tell us now that it's there, right? But before it wasn't, because this was done a while ago. And then you just push request indexing. And then we got that page indexed. That wasn't indexed before. So we're just taking that step one step further. We're just pulling different sets of data, and we're figuring out where that data should and shouldn't be, those slugs.
Super cool.
Super useful. You find crazy problems. One common problem is you'll find a page that Google has indexed, but it's not internally linked. So yeah, sure, Google's indexing this page, but you have no way for an internal visitor to get to that page. It's isolated. There's no internal link. And that would mean that, so then Screaming Frog wouldn't find it. Let's see if there's an example of that. Screaming Frog. So indexed, not in sitemap. We don't need that one. Screaming Frog. It would basically be like, I'm just gonna find it. I don't know if there's any good examples.
I think I
here.
do have one in there somewhere.
Oh, do you? Okay.
But I don't remember.
Okay, okay, here we go. Oh, this isn't the best example, but we don't probably want this page indexed anyway. But let's say this is a important page that we want visitors to find. So Google's indexing this page, but there's no way for internal visitors to get there. Screaming Frog did not find the link. That tool we use that crawls links did not find that link. So that means if it's an important page and we want internal visitors to find it, we need to add some links to that page. And this page isn't very important, probably. So in this case, this is something different. If we don't want this page indexed, then we would take steps here. We're assuming that this is a good page, right? It's just case by case when you go through here. There's almost every to do one of these, and I've done a lot of these. There's just something different that you find. So, and you just go through the whole thing and look for problems. This page wasn't on Google search. This page was indexed, but there's no internal link to it. Screaming Frog did not find it. It's not in the sitemap, so it's probably not important because it's not there. So what do we do with it, right? We have to just sort of think case by case scenario. It's in Screaming Frog, and this is just obviously not important, right? So I don't know why I marked it red. It was quite a while ago, but. So this is a really good process for finding pages that should be indexed, just free content that's not in Google search, pages that are isolated, that are poorly internally linked by us. And then of course there's Screaming Frog, which just gives us awesome data on its own. So with that, we'll just do some questions on that process. And then if not, we can just go to SEO questions in general. If anyone has any. So any questions on that URL page gap analysis with a post-launched website? Oh, it looks like I need to check chat here too, while people are thinking.
Can you pull up again where you went for the XML sitemap?
Sure. So you go, almost all these redirect, and it depends, sometimes they're on different URLs, but typically almost sitemap.xml will almost always take you to that sitemap.
I'm surprised SSN uses Yoast.
Yeah, it's a good tool for WordPress. It's just an overall good tool to have and use.
I hear you, but I thought Rank Math was the place to be for
that seems to be the new and upcoming one, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I don't even use Yoast that often, to be honest. It's really good for beginners because you can get a good idea of what's there.
Mm-hmm.
But I can just scan over pages so quick and I get a pretty good idea of what that page needs or doesn't need. And sometimes Yoast will give us stuff that we don't necessarily need.
I hear you.
One good example here. Let's say, and I'll just stop sharing for a second. And this will be a good Yoast example. So let's say we have this page on how to tie your shoe. And you just have like 10 steps, etc. And it's not a very long post. It doesn't take that much explaining to get that page across to people, to get those instructions across. But Yoast is like, you need more content, you need more content, you need more content. Not necessarily. It's red flagging you, sure, but you want to do what's best for your visitor. You want to make it as easy as possible for that visitor to get the information they need to create that good user experience. You create that good user experience, Google wants to send more and more traffic to your page. So don't always take Yoast for black and white. Take it for suggestions, one way or the other. And a perfect example there is like, you need more content. Maybe you don't need more content. Maybe you explained it perfectly well and Google loves the page, but Yoast is like, hey, look, etc. So that's where you have to sometimes be careful with Yoast, but it is a great tool.
I hear you. Yeah, it's kind of bloatware. Like if you're not using all the stuff, they just added another feature on there that I think might be of interest to the group. I was thinking about doing a thing around it, but yeah, I mean, you get the red lights and the green lights, and I don't think there's an in between, and so sometimes like they say, they give you the red light, but it's fine, so you just have to kind of learn how to. But it did so for the sitemap, was that question answered? Do they know how to get it from their website? You know what I mean?
I think
Maybe I don't.
Misty questions.
Yeah, I guess I don't actually know. I just did a screen grab of what you showed me so I could look at it later, but
Okay.
I guess I'm not quite sure. I guess I'm not quite clear.
Can you go over how to do a sitemap again real quick? The thing is like you get it differently from your site, like Yoast will spit it out somewhere on their, they have a setting for where you grab it, but if you're not using Yoast, I'm not sure where you pull that from.
Sure, let me see if I have, do you care if I log into your website, Jim? I think I have your.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I have access here.
Why don't you fix a few things while you're in there?
Yeah. Okay, so we want to go. Okay, I don't think I actually logged into yours, but we can take a look.
I can do it on my end too.
Okay, well, yeah, let's see if this works, and if not, we can have you do it here. Just gotta be careful not to show the password, right? Okay, so let's go to Jim's sitemap. So we wanted, whoops, where did it go?
You gotta do a
Okay.
screen share.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, so I'm logged into Jim's WordPress right here. And now this isn't his sitemap, here's his homepage. So now let's get to his sitemap. So just /sitemap.xml. And this is going to take us to his sitemap. Push
just
enter.
Type that on the end of your website?
Yep. And then as we see here, it kind of auto redirected us, but that's okay as long as we get here. And then what we do is first of all, we want to make sure that all these pages that are in here are pages that we want Google to index. Are there any random pages in here that we don't want Google to index? So we want to take an eye at that, right? And then let's go back to the search network just really quick, but their sitemap. Oh, I think I heard someone took a screenshot, but I just changed it. Sorry.
It's okay. Got it.
Sitemap. So there's a lot of weird stuff in here. Let's just take an example. Tribe events. Like, what is this? Let's click here. Like, this just feels very low quality content. We don't probably want this indexed. And maybe we do. I'd have to think about it some more. But if it's really low quality index stuff we don't want indexed, then we're like, okay, we need to remove these pages from our sitemap. And what we can do is we go over to, I don't have, oh yeah, here we go. Yoast, and we can go to search appearance in Yoast. And then we can go to content types, and we can switch these on and off right here. Show posts in search results, on. That will put all of Jim's posts in that sitemap. If right here we have pages, on. We want all of those pages listed in the sitemap, on. But sometimes you get really weird ones by default, sort of like the Seattle Search Network here. You have just a bunch of random stuff, like these author pages might not be important. And so if we don't want those indexed, we just come over here and we find where they're at. Here we go, show categories and search results. Probably not necessary, off. We just remove that from the sitemap and save, of course. Any questions about the sitemap and along those lines? Cool. So let's just go back to Google Search Console. This tool is just so absolutely valuable. So you have two different tools. You have Google Analytics and you have Google Search Console. Google Analytics tells you how traffic behaves on your website, how long people stick around for, if people bounce, how many pages they visited, etc. Google Search Console tells us how that traffic got to your website from Google search. So if you get a lot of traffic from Google search or just any traffic from Google search, this is a super valuable tool. We can come to the coverage report, and this starts to show us if there's anything wrong. Valid. So here, let's go look at excluded here. So page with redirect. These are 301 redirects. Those are probably okay. We probably have redirects in place because they're old pages that we want to redirect to a new page.
Yes.
But there's probably some other ones in here that we don't want. Crawled, currently not indexed. This is a really good one to look through. What if you have some content that Google's crawling, but Google is just not indexing? So then we can look through this report and we're like, okay, we don't care about the feeds. We don't care about those URLs. That's just from experience. But what about this page? Recessed shampoo shelf part 2, installing foam niche. Do we need that? Should that page be indexed? So now we go look at it. It should. Oh, wow. Okay.
I think
no,
so.
It's an image.
Oh, it's just
no,
an
it's
image.
just an image.
Okay.
Yep. So we're okay there. And so, but what if this was a super valuable page that we needed indexed? Then we can spot it in here and we can start looking for issues. We can just keep going down here. What about this? Subway tile installation, subway tile layout lines. It's probably another image. So like, yep. And obviously Jim probably looks at this. We did an SEO audit not that long ago, so there's probably not very many problems in here currently. But this is just an amazing free tool for you to look around. And here's a cool part. Charles asked about this earlier. We can go to settings and crawl stats. Here's the crawl stats. This is how often Google is crawling his website. This tells us that right there. There's a large correlation between how much Google crawls your website and how well that website does in Google search. So sometimes we want to make sure that Google's not crawling pages that we don't care about. If it's some page like the Hello World page, if Google's spending its time just crawling that page repeatedly, that's a waste of Google's time on our website. We want to make sure Google's crawling all the stuff we want indexed. And then there's some other really cool things about Google Search Console. We can, first of all, we can really fine tune the performance results. We can filter by page, by search query. We can see what keywords are bringing people into the website. We get keyword ideas. One really cool thing you can do, this is a nice little trick. So if you're looking for keywords, one thing that we really want to think about with keyword research is people ask Google questions. How to do X, how to do Y. Those are long tail keywords and they're fairly easy to rank for depending on what it is, etc. But if it's a really long keyword that people don't use very often, but they search for sometimes, we want to answer those questions people are asking Google. We want to make sure that we tell Google, here, Google, people are asking this question, let's give them that content, right? And then Google will show that page on Google search. So what we can do to get ideas about that is we come up here, we go to query. We're just filtering this data down, and we can say queries containing how to. We search, and now look at this, how to cut glass tile. This is a question that Jim could answer on his website, and maybe he does, right? But this is really good information, keywords we could add to that website. How to tile an outside corner without bull nose. I have no idea what that means, but maybe if a lot of people are asking, look at this gets 65 clicks alone and impressions. Answer questions people are asking on Google.
If you were tiling your house, you would know what that means. So
yeah, I haven't done that before. So cool tool to find what questions people are asking Google is it's called Answer the Republic. Answer the Public. Answerthepublic.com. You can use this free for 2 or 3 times per day, I think. But what we can do here is we type in tile. And then let this load for a second, and boom. Look at all these amazing questions we can put on our website to send traffic to our website. Which tile size is best for flooring? Why not put that on the website? There's some traffic. Which tile cutter to use? What? And so this is just a great, what tile trim do I need? Let's find a really common one. Tile who invented. That's not the best one, but we can answer it. Why can't I get this off the screen? Okay, oh, there it is. I'm zoomed in. Why? Okay, let's find one. Where some of these aren't that useful.
probably like how to would be my guess.
Okay, let's do a how to one. How to, let's just do this. How to install tile. Backsplash. Let's try that. Video, of course. And that's another important thing to note. You want to see the intent for each Google search. If someone is searching Google for how to tie your shoe, if I type in how to tie a shoe, what content do you think is going to come up? Do you think it's going to be video? Do you think it's going to be a blog post? Do you think it's going to be people also ask? It's probably going to be a video. And boom. So now that tells us if we're targeting this keyword, if we're targeting how to tie a shoe, we want to give video to Google. We don't want to do a huge, long 10-page blog post. Google's not going to show that. Google's showing video. So it's good to search for your keyword to see what Google's showing so you can match that intent and put that same type of content on your website.
Can I just say somebody's probably, making 6 figures with a video on how to tie a shoe. So
yep, exactly.
That's their content.
Right, that one page. So here's a really sweet tool. It's called Keywords Everywhere. It's really cheap. It uses credits, etc. Now let me do another Google search here, and I'll show you how this tool works. So again, this is called Keywords Everywhere. It's a Chrome extension. What this does is it gives us handy little metrics right below so the volume of this, look how much search volume this has per month. That is insane. And almost all of that is going to this video. Now there's some money. There is some money. Now the cost per click, $2.81, that's Google Ads. So if someone were to click on this, it would cost this website $2.81. I've seen these cost sometimes even $200 per click. It's insane.
Holy cow.
For really, like, maybe buy a house or something, you know what I mean? There's a lot of competition for that. And here's your competition as well. It shows you, so it's not super hard to go for. This tool also gives us suggestions. It gives us the trend for how people search through that through time. It gives us related keyword ideas. So it's a neat little tool. It's called Keywords Everywhere.
That's a Chrome extension?
Yep, really cheap to use. It uses per credits. I think it's like, let's just take a look.
It used to be free.
Yeah,
but
got too popular.
yeah.
Oh, it's not coming up, but it's a really cheap tool to use. From here, we can take, any questions on this, and that we can shift topics or whatever direction you guys want to take this in. We can do any just random SEO questions, or maybe more keyword oriented right now. Just shoot away.
The keyword stuff is really great. I don't want to forget to ask you. I think you mentioned that you would be willing to share the Excel formula cheat sheet information. Did you say that?
Sure. So how about this? Let me wait. Is this okay? So whoever wants access to this, and you can find the formulas here. How does that sound? I can just, if anyone wants puts their URL in search or in the chat, I can just put it in right now.
So you'll email the slides over, is what you're saying?
How about that?
Or
here, I'm just gonna.
I mean, do it how you want. I was just trying to clarify,
So send whoever wants. I'll just send everyone the slide deck, and I'll give everyone data and share this slide spreadsheet with everyone. How does that sound? So if you want me to share that stuff with you, the slide deck and this, how about you, and the video, if Jim sends it to me, I can throw it into a Google Drive or something, unless he wants to share it. So let me
No,
just
I'll
make
send it to
notes. So, okay, share this with Jim's group. So I want to do URL page gap analysis. I want to do the slide deck and video. Start putting your emails in chat here. I can add them to this.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, one thing I wanted to say on the indexing, a lot of times you're not supposed to index your categories. So like, Yoast or your index, you can index your pages, you can index your posts. I forget what else, but like a lot of times you don't want to index your categories and your tags. So if you guys, I just wanted to mention that, especially if your tag categories and tags are a big mess like mine are. So you want to keep those off of the indexing.
And the way I always think about that always comes back to user experience. Is it useful to have these category pages on Google search? Probably not. Unless you have some really fancy category pages, then it could be helpful, but
there's exceptions. Yeah.
Right.
But
if it's just a basic category page, probably not. Whatever you think's super useful and helps your users, then yeah, let's try to get on search. Let's see, did anyone else put their email in? Oh, there's one right there. Oh wait, that's Jim. Okay, well, for now, any other questions? Maybe about keyword research or Google Search Console, or maybe here's a good one. It shows us our page experience here over in Google Search Console. So how fast is your website? Does it need to be faster? Jim has a good job here.
Is this mine?
Yep.
Yeah.
So sometimes it'll show us like, oh, your pages are going slow. It'll just tell us. So that's always nice.
They've changed this.
Yeah, they changed it not too long ago. But,
so like, yeah, if you go to the Core Web Vitals, my site is not fast enough. I've tried.
Oh, okay.
I finally started putting stuff back, and I'm like 0.2 seconds.
Oh, you're good.
Is it saying it's good now?
Yeah. Oh, not for desktop.
No, look at mobile. Look at mobile. That's interesting. Open that up, will you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. They're saying it's good now.
Nice. There you go.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I've been seeing these jargons out there. I'm not sure what it exactly means, but what is the global site manager versus the site map, the one you spoke about?
So let's go over to the sitemap really quick. Whoops. Let's just go to Jim's. So say that again?
What is the difference between the global site manager versus the sitemap, the one are they the same thing?
Probably not. I'm not sure what the global site, that might be, is that a plugin?
No, I think I was trying to install the analytics plugin yesterday and the Google Tag Manager popped up and I wasn't sure what that even meant.
Oh, Google Tag Manager?
Yeah.
So Google Tag Manager helps you. Do you know that code snippet that you put on your website for Google Analytics to get Google Analytics on your website? So sometimes websites have a lot of different tags, like a lot of different code snippets that they want to add to the website. And so what Google Tag Manager does is it helps you organize all of those in one location so you can easily update and delete or remove, pause, add more, relative to going into your actual like theme editor and adding the snippet there. So if you have a lot of different code snippets that you have to add to the head, then Google Tag Manager is really useful. But if you only have Google Analytics,
okay,
that's it. I wouldn't even use Google Tag Manager. So
thank you. That helps a lot.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's confusing, like all Google stuff. So
Yeah, for real. Let's see, is there any other things I can quickly, here's a good one I'll show everyone really quick. And does anyone have a URL that we want to just speed test? Take a look at? Is anyone brave enough to hand over a domain and we can do a live analysis?
Sure, if you want to look at the m-squared.com or m's, I put it up in the chat up at about
Okay, cool.
at 10:20.
10:20. Okay, sweet. Aha, nice. So, while this is going, we can do a couple things here really quick. Our SEO group will sometimes do live analysis SEO audits. Okay, so let's go here. So let's start with this. I'm gonna do a few different things at once. Okay, I come over here. Oops, not that one. So I really like this tool. This is called webpagetest.org. It's free. Great tool. I'm gonna just paste this in there. We're gonna go, so Los Angeles, that's fine. And we're gonna start test. While that's going, I'm gonna go to Screaming Frog. Let's put this in. Start. Now we got Screaming Frog crawling the website. Okay, now what we can do here is we can go site. So this is a trick. We're doing a Google search for site and your website. I'm gonna push enter. So your website has 37 pages indexed in Google search. All right. Now let's go over here. So we got an interesting problem here. Why isn't this going? Well, I use oh, there it goes. Okay. That's kind of scary. But that wouldn't be good if the Screaming Frog wasn't working. But it is going really slow, oddly.
you might have a lot of stuff going on here.
I don't think that would matter. I'm gonna try starting this over again. I'm gonna put the skewer version in there. Let's try that. So we're crawling. Here we go. So we're crawling. We're getting all this awesome information. In the meantime, let's go take a quick look at images. One cool thing is if you click on images in Screaming Frog, we can see how big those images are. And so that way we can quickly organize. If there's like huge images, optimize them. We don't want huge major images slowing down the website. And this is a really like 1.4 megabytes. Like, what's this image doing? Like you need to go to this image and figure out what's going on here. Okay.
Hey, so Connor,
now,
what is a good image size?
So it varies a lot. If it's a small little icon, you want that to be like maybe just kilobytes. If it's larger, maybe like 200 kilobytes. If it's like a nice, beautiful hero top of the page image, maybe 200 kilobytes. But past that, you want to start being really nervous. Get careful. So that was just a sort of a side note on images, how to find them, and also that you need to optimize them. But now if we go back to your website here, Charles, we have something interesting going on. So here's all your HTML pages on the website. 20, if we look down here, 22 in total. All right, that's strange. Why is Google indexing 37 pages of your website? You have something going on there. So get Google Search Console, put it on there and pull the data and sort of organize it similar to what we did initially. And you can start to get an idea like, oh, that's weird. Like, should data be there or not? Then we can go look at your, we can go pull that data from your, let's paste it here. Sitemap. Of course, you want to pull it from this. Let's just take a quick look. Maybe there's something funny going on. You don't have a sitemap.
No.
So yeah, so you need to get your sitemap. Google's looking for this page. So Google's looking for it.
Okay.
Now let's go ahead and we can go quickly look at the speed results for your website and we can get a quick analysis there. It's really hard to get this very good on WordPress. WordPress is not that good for security just because you have all these random plugins that are mashed together, this WordPress thing. Your time to first byte isn't that, well, let's take a look at the actual metrics. Okay, so your time to first byte is how long it takes for your website to connect with the server initially. This is pretty high. I try to get this down below 0.3. 0.5, I start to get nervous. 1 is definitely something you want to try and improve.
Okay.
Give parameters. Does it offer parameters anywhere, or do you have to know how to interpret all this?
Yeah, kind of experience. If you do, what's it called? Let me find it.
PageSpeed Insights or GT Metrics?
Yeah, PageSpeed Insights. Where is it? This will give you a better idea of like what's good and what's bad if we put the same URL in, and we can maybe come back to this and I'll show you what that looks like. But some of these are from experience. So right here is showing green, so that's good. First attempt full pay, etc. Not that many requests. So how many times the server has to go back and forth between the website?
Okay.
I've seen like 200s like bad. This is really good, 39. But we can do a waterfall here, and this is where you can really start looking in. We can start to look for, boy, yeah, something strange is going on there. See that? I typically don't even see that. You might want to have that. No, look at that.
Okay.
Well, it's probably because I did the wrong version. I should have done HTTPS and not the HTTP. But we can look through this and we can look for bottlenecks. So like, what's going on here? Like these things are running well, and all of a sudden, like everything can't do anything until we get past this. And so maybe if you don't use Google Fonts, we can see this is a Google Fonts. Just turn Google Fonts off, and now we just cut this guy out. We just cut this thing out that's bottlenecking everything, and now you're speeding. You're just jumping straight into all these other JavaScript files. Other thing you can do is you can combine these CSS files. So if you have a bunch of CSS files on your website, you have to be careful with those plugins. You want to definitely make sure you have backup versions of your website before you play around with these. But you can combine all of these, and there's some weird error going on too. You have to look at that. You can combine all of them, so that way you're not you're only loading one file instead of 20. Instead of doing 20 connections back and forth, you're just doing one. And that just speeds everything up a little bit more. There's something strange going on here. That looks like it's an image. It's giving you a 404, so you want to take a look at that. Any questions here before we move on? I see someone put something in chat.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the auto optimize plugin is a pretty good free plugin for doing your CSS and stuff like that.
Combining files, speeding things up a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, but
be careful when you modify JavaScript. It can definitely down your website.
Yeah, you got to test it because doing this stuff will screw it up too. But so you want to make sure it's saved, and then but just test it and then go in and check your speeds and stuff like that. It's pretty good.
Agreed.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Are there any more questions? If not, we can just sort of poke around a little bit more on your website, Charles.
I just have a real quick one. What did you, when you went to site, and then it
Colon.
pulled up the number. Yeah. What are, I'm just looking for my words. When it says 37 results, that's 37 separate pages.
Yep.
Okay. And then didn't it say 39 on whatever page speed insights?
It could have. Let me take a look.
When you drilled into the,
Oh no, that was how many requests for that page. So server
Oh.
requests back and forth for
Okay.
that home page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, can you go to his page speed in? I think you were going to go back to that. The page speed
Sure.
insights page.
Oh yeah, thanks. Alex, get off my screen here. So here we go. So not bad from this standpoint.
Yeah, the homepage looks like it's passing.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be that stressed about your speed, Charles. I wouldn't be. If you could do a faster hosting company to get that time to first byte up, that would probably be good. But besides that, I wouldn't. Maybe combined. I mean, I would spend maybe just a few hours trying to improve it. But past a certain point, it gets really hard to improve your site even faster and faster. And then past that, it's just like, don't even stress about it. So do the best you can in like, minimum amount of time, and then just let it go. I've seen people really just like, I got to get 100% score. I got to get a really good score. And at that point, you're just like wasting so much time just trying to barely improve your metrics just a little bit. Yeah, so.
I did a deep dive on mine at one point, and pretty soon I'm cutting out all these things that are actually good for the user experience, trying to get the score. And finally I just let it go, and I just put it back and said, and it's apparently it's pretty good now, but not most sites are not passing the page speed insights test. So
right.
You just do the best you can.
And don't sacrifice your UX over like speeding something up. Yeah, the whole goal is get UX, improve your site there. So let's just go back and take a quick look at your website. Whoops. I have lunch with Alex on my way out of town, so he's probably, I told him I'm in the presentation. So, okay, so here's one thing I noticed right away. Now let me get this, products and services. Okay, cool. So if we think about a marketing funnel, we want to send users to your product pages, okay? People learning about your brand, etc., is higher up in the funnel. We don't, or it depends on which way you're looking at the funnel. We'll say bottom is conversion. We'll say very bottom of the funnel is conversion. So we want to get people to your product pages. Higher up in the funnel is more brand kind of awareness. Maybe people are just trying to learn about what you sell, etc. So up more brand awareness. Now, what we have here though, is you're sending people to your social media pages, which are higher up in the funnel. You want to send people down the funnel. You don't want people to be like, oh, look, let's go to their Facebook. If they go to Facebook, they're probably not coming back. They're not going to your products. They're not going to your services. I always put the social media icons in the footer of the website. If someone wants it, they can go there, awesome. But we want to get people to your products, to your services. We want to send them down the funnel, not up to Facebook and YouTube, etc. So that's one thing I noticed right away. Let's see here. These look clickable. That's kind of misleading to me. I'm trying to click these and I can't.
All right.
It's good they use the phone number directions. This should be clickable too. I can't seem to click that.
I haven't. They're not clickable at this point. I'm working on them.
Great. Let's see. Let's go take a look at your service. Cool. Okay. Let's see if I see anything off really quickly here. Yeah, so just more content on your service pages, lots of clear headings, help people find that content easily, stuff like do some keyword research. I'm assuming that you're just still working on the website at this point.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Okay, cool.
That's why I was asking you where I should build this, without publishing it or not. That's what I was, that,
Uh,
yes.
might as well as get it up, I think. I think it's okay for a bit just to have something up and just have things there.
Good.
But you just keep improving it. Just keep improving it. Oh, here's a cool thing. So you made me think about something. So one thing that's really good to SEO is to have websites that link to your website. So if the New York Times, for example, were to link to your website, your SEO would be out the roof, you get traffic the next day, etc. This tool is really expensive, and you don't need to get it or anything, but I'm just showing you something for demo reasons. Let's throw your website in here. Now let's see what data we have. This is really good for competitor research too, because we can type in anyone's website and we can get an idea of how much monthly traffic they get. So it's really good for competitive research. And now, so you have 13 other websites that link to website, okay? It's really good to improve this number. It's really hard to do because you have to do a lot of outreach. You have to do a lot of work to get this number up, but it's really important for SEO. So one cool way to do passive backlink building, it's called building backlinks when you have more external websites linked to your website. So one really fun sort of technique to do that is you can go to Google Alerts. This is another free Google tool. And this will alert us when someone mentions certain topics, okay? And now I want to come back to this. So here you have 37 search results on your page.
Mhm.
If we put negative here, we're saying we want to search every website out on the internet except for your website, which is kind of pointless, right? I don't know why I'd want to do that. But if we go like this, and now let's just go look at quickly one of your main, like, okay, so M squared, all right. M squared, I just have to remember that. So now we come over here and now we do this, M squared. So this will show you all the other websites on the internet that have mentioned M squared that are not your website.
Mm.
And this can help you find backlinks. If this company mentioned your website, you could reach out to them and be like, hey, I noticed you wrote this little article about me. Would you mind putting a link to my website? So the cool thing is, someone have a question there?
No, I started just saying that's really cool.
Yeah, so this helps you find backlinks, etc. But I don't really do a lot of backlink building. It's just so time consuming, really hard to do. But what you do is you then take the search query. So you take the search term and you put it in Google Alerts. If I can find Google Alerts. Oh boy, where'd it go? And we put that in Google Alerts. And now we're saying, whenever someone mentions my company's brand, Google, tell me about it, email me, and then you can reach out to them and you can ask them, hey, do you care if you backlink to my website? So it's a really passive way to build backlinks.
Very neat.
But Ahrefs is a super useful tool. We can see if you have any broken backlinks on the internet. Might as well just click on this while we're here. We have a few minutes left. And I don't know if
that was the expensive one you were talking about? Ahrefs?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's about $180 a month. One idea is if you do a lot of SEO, if it's for like one business, I don't know if I'd do it. But if you, especially like a website like yours, Charles, but if you are really doing a lot of SEO, it can be super useful. It helps you find keywords. It helps you find backlinks. It helps you do competitor research and stuff along those things. You can go see what websites link to your competitors' websites, like what backlinks go to your competitors' websites. And then you go to those people and say, hey, I noticed you mentioned my competitor. Would you mind putting me on your website too? You know, something like that. And now you're just building more backlinks.
Thank you.
So there's one called, there's a competitive website called SEMrush. and they do have a free version that you can use. Ahrefs doesn't have it, but anyway, it's very limited, but it is helpful, and it doesn't do the competitor stuff like Ahrefs does, but it's helpful for keywords, and it's helpful for some of that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Well, cool. Any last questions before we wrap this up? Stop sharing. Saw someone in chat say something here. Yeah, SEM Rush.
So, no, I think we're pretty good. So, Connor, thank you. I didn't realize your day was so full and all that stuff. So I appreciate
all good.
I appreciate you making time. We talked about this quite a while ago. So, anyway, I was looking forward to having you on, and I very much appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone, feel free to reach out to me, and let me know if you want me to send you the video and slide deck and whatnot. I guess I can go and throw my info in chat really quick.
You got a cool website too. I encourage people just to go look at that. It's got all this, like,
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Same, we do website design too. We can be more creative with our design. If I was like a law firm or something, I would probably not do what I did.
Right.
But yeah, it is a fun website.
If you're a website builder, it's kind of what you got to do. You got to show off a little bit. So
for sure.
Hey, do you know what's the next topic for SSN?
I don't know, but
Okay,
let me.
fine.
I might just put the link to the SSN meetup really quick.
Okay.
This SSN meetup or Seattle Search Network is where I've been going for 6-7 years, and this is where I've learned like so much valuable SEO information. There's more of a public version and there's more of a private version. The public version is free, and that's more basic stuff. But if you really start getting into SEO, we have a $99 per year subscription. We're just a nonprofit, basically just try to help out small businesses and whatnot. And I'll put that link in the chat right now.
But they're on Meetup too, so if you're already on there,
This was a good one. Tools, and more tools. We just touched on a bunch of SEO tools.
And the last month was the Google listing, the local listing. That was a good one.
Yeah, this right here. Whoops, not that. That's my website. 12-10 design. About optimizing this was the last month's presentation. This is your knowledge graph, and you want to make sure that this looks really good. This is really important.
They're a total insider too, guy. I'm amazed at the quality of people you guys get.
He's a Google expert. Like Google goes to him when people have problems. He's like one of the 9 in the world or something, who we had last month for a speaker. Great presentation.
So anyway, watch out for SSN if you guys are into it. It is a little bit more advanced, especially their the private meetup stuff. But it's an excellent meetup group. So
when you're saying FSN, what's the letters?
Seattle Search Network, SSN.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So, yeah,
I'm so used to saying that.
I'm using the lingo, yeah. So anyway, so next month, we don't know what we're going to talk about yet next month. I'm thinking maybe like something on Yoast. Yoast has like a new keyword research thing I think might work. I think a lot of bloggers might find that useful, but we don't know yet. So we got to talk it over and that kind of thing. So anyway, and like I said, if anybody wants to speak or anything like that, let me know. So anyway, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and stop.